We're live.
We're live, everybody. Episode number 5 on June 13th with Lovettsville 20180 Liberty Radio Hour.
Very good. Yes.
Hi, Warner.
Hey, Darcy. How are you doing? I still forgot my coffee mug.
Oh,
I was going to do the fake advertisement thing on it.
We have to do what the morning people do. I always was kind of jealous of them, just...
I'm with you. I'm just going to fake a coffee mug throughout this entire show. Okay? If you see me going up like this, it's me faking the coffee mug. Okay.
Okay, I'll go with you there.
Okay. So,
All
listen,
right.
has anything happened over the last couple of days?
So, Warner and I were going to continue our business and private property talk. And maybe we should have until everybody settles down.
Yeah.
But we decided to go with, what do you call it? What's happening today?
Well,
Current events.
obviously, the current event, the topic of the day. How can we pass this up? Right?
You can't. Both of us just found out about it yesterday, late afternoon. Kind of been
Yeah. It's the 800-pound gorilla in
the room.
our nation.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously we're talking about the mass shooting,
In Orlando.
the massacre in Orlando. Now, for clarity, I have a daughter that actually lives in Lakeland, which is probably 60 minutes away from Orlando. She works at Disney World, which is probably 30 minutes from Orlando.
In a huge place with a lot of people. Do you ever think
No,
about
absolutely,
that?
and they're on the terrorist list. They're always after. But one thing my daughter is, she's armed. Right, so she has a firearm. Now, she can't take you to Disney World, so she's not armed all the time like I am. I'm never more than 3 feet from a firearm at any given moment in time. So, but now with that said, so let's talk about it. So I'm going to let you start out with the facts. And here's the deal. So it's what is it, Monday, and it happened. Was it yesterday?
It must have happened
Sunday or Saturday night.
Saturday night. is
Okay,
when
so it happened Saturday night.
At a nightclub in Orlando.
Yeah.
It's like 59 dead, 50 some wounded, and I just heard on the radio that they didn't have enough ambulances.
Yeah.
They had to haul them away like on utility trailers, on trailers. So the thing is, I don't know if I think it was only one shooter.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I think so. So, the facts, they're changing hourly as the news comes in.
So we'll go along with what don't say that, this is all we said, because we're only repeating what we think we know.
Yeah, and as of Monday. Right?
As of
so
Monday.
if additional facts come out later on, that's a different story. But the facts, we know that there was one guy. And he's a Muslim.
Yes. Do we know what he used? Because Levin just said on the radio, and I don't know.
Well, what I heard, again, I'm not too sure, but I did hear that somebody, that he used an AR-15.
Okay, so we're going to talk later about what exactly assault weapons
and an AR-15, just for people out in TV land, is a rifle. There is no adjective in front of it, right? So it's not an assault rifle. It's just a rifle. See, just like this computer mouse is not, I would call it an assault mouse if I beat you with it.
Okay.
Right, but in and of itself, it's just a mouse, right?
Okay.
So the AR-15 is nothing more than a firearm. It's a rifle, right?
So
and
what
I
does
do
the
with
AR mean?
Oh, I don't even know.
Oh, okay. That's like me not knowing what a bob cut is.
No, I know. I don't know what it stands for.
So he did use AR-15. We know that, whatever that is.
Yeah, and I think he had some handguns. I think he had some handguns as well.
What did they call them? See, I forget already.
Yeah.
I was just listening to it.
Yeah.
So one guy goes in.
Now, but let's talk about the location, right? He didn't go into a McDonald's.
No, it's a nightclub, a dance club.
Yeah, but what was the specifics on the nightclub?
Well, is that the specifics, that it was specifically a gay nightclub? Because I don't know.
What I know as of Monday at like 6 o'clock, it's 6:28 right now, what I know or what I've heard is that it was in fact a quote-unquote gay nightclub, right? And so, there were maybe straight people there, but the reality is it's not just a nightclub that gay people went to.
Exactly.
My understanding is it's a gay nightclub, right? Yeah.
So the other thing is that supposedly somewhere in there I heard that earlier in the day his family had witnessed 2 gentlemen kissing, and that upset them. So I don't know if that triggered it or if this was planned, but he drove like 2 to 3 hours to get to that specific site. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
I heard that too.
Yeah. I did hear that he called 911.
Yes.
and announced,
announced,
right, that he was either going to do it or did it.
Yep.
And that he did it, in support of ISIS.
Because they shot him eventually.
Yeah,
it took 3 hours for the cops to even get there, or somehow. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm assuming that he called beforehand. Now, he probably did that in the parking lot.
Obviously,
he called
after he's gone. But.
Yeah, he probably called it. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but he probably called in the parking lot. Hey, this is going down.
Right. He referred back to the Boston bombers, that he was sympathetic with ISIS.
Yeah.
And what else did he say? That was just the two main things.
Yeah. So now a couple other things which are irrelevant to the conversation is that, again, Monday, 6:30,
right.
He actually bought the firearm, quote unquote, legally.
Yes.
Right. Now, there's an issue. Do you also
know what his job was?
No.
Really?
No, what was it?
Oh my God, I can't believe for one time I know more than Warner. He was a security guard and he worked with TSA.
Yeah. Oh, even better. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well,
I think it was. I'm almost sure. But the bottom line is he had been questioned and was on like the questionable list.
Yeah, the key thing is that he was on the FBI watch list. Apparently,
yes.
Right.
But see, law enforcement's hands are tied. There's he was talking about some subversive company that basically the NYPD cannot look into these people because they're Muslim, so they can't. Yeah. They can't do their job.
I mean, it's political correctness gone amok, right? The reality is
for our safety. So when is the common sense going to kick in? And okay, let me just say this now.
Yeah.
Is the whole issue that we're being divided on, or how they're dividing us, is they're saying that the people that are right of center, that we all hate gays and we're bigamists, we all hate Muslims and we're bigots against that, and what's the third thing? We don't the whole transgender thing.
Right.
But the problem is I don't dislike anything so much that I'm going to, and if you guys are all in the same group, so if gays and Muslims, everybody that they think we're against, well, Muslims and is it Sharia law?
Yeah, Sharia law.
They think that it's compassionate to kill gay people. In fact, there's a guy speaking right now who's Muslim that's saying that, having a press conference or something down in Orlando right now.
Yeah, I know the Sandy.
So here you are sticking up for, and nobody's saying hate all Muslims,
right.
But there's a point where you can't keep testing fate. I mean, because it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
From California to Connecticut to now Orlando. So what's next?
Yeah. Well, now what's next is number 2 on our order. So you jumped to number 4.
Oh gosh. Okay,
see, we actually have. We're new at this, right? So we actually have a structured program. And so the first thing we're going to talk about the facts. We're trying to get all the facts together, right? And then the second thing we're going to talk about is
just
news
trying
reporting.
To figure out the thought process here.
News reporting. Then we're going to talk about political spin, and then we're going to talk about opinions.
Okay,
but that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We're a free flowing thing here. So now from the news reports. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really watched a lot of I'm going to say full 30-minute, full hour news reports, right?
Yeah.
So it's bits and pieces, right? Mm-hmm. From a lot of variety of sources, to include Facebook. But anyway, and so that's what we're getting from. But all I hear, there's 2 things that I hear a lot of, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Okay.
Or your 2 cents right. I hear gun.
Yeah.
What I never hear is the term Muslim.
Exactly.
And so, again, it's one of these things where we won't make the obvious connection between a guy calling in and says, hey, I fully support ISIS. I hate homosexuals. I'm going to kill everybody in a gay bar. But somehow it becomes, a gun thing. So that's what I've been sort of hearing in the news. And they've really, really been trying to downplay, the Muslim angle.
That it's a terrorist act.
That it's a terrorist act, right? Right now, as far as news, from your perspective, what news reporting have you been? Because I think, to be honest with you, I think you've probably either saw or looked at or watched more news reports than I have.
So earlier today, I was just able to see what was going across the screen. So it was primarily, I saw are talking about the banning of guns again and assault rifles. And then they actually did interview his parents, and I didn't because the sound wasn't on. I couldn't really.
So let me ask you a question, and you know, you may know the answer. So France, which is functionally banned, we have a fly in here. So for swatting, we're just
we're not crazy. I feel a little crazy right now.
We're not dodging, bullets or anything. There's one fly in here. I can't get rid of it. I think he would die at some point. But my big question is France, who has functionally banned handguns or banned guns.
But right? England has too, right? You can't have.
Yeah, but France is where they had the massacre in that.
That's okay. So we'll go with that.
And so France, a country who has banned firearms, had a mass shooting.
Right.
Because they printed disparaging comments, on their, whatever profit, right?
Okay.
And so why do we think that's going to work in America if we just turn around and because the first thing out of the left's mouth is. Ban guns, ban guns, ban guns, ban guns. But the France did that, and it didn't happen. And the same thing could be said in San Bernardino in Southern California.
Because San Bernardino, right? were they?
They were both Muslims. Yeah. So was the shooter at Fort Hood. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, I mean they're all.
So wait, what'd you ask me? Because I went somewhere else.
Well, if their goal is to ban guns in America, right. Why do we think that's going to work when it didn't work in
France?
In France, or we can extrapolate. It doesn't work in Chicago. Doesn't work in Washington, Baltimore,
so I had a conversation.
LA, Houston.
That's a good question because I don't know where I was flying, but the gentleman next to me was from Europe. And I really wanted to sleep, but he wanted to start a conversation. And he says to me, "When are you people gonna get it? How many people have to get shot before you get rid of guns?" He goes, "In England, you can't have a blade, you can't have a gun, you can't have any of that stuff. Yeah. If you can't have it, it's not going to happen."
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I said the bottom line is it's part of our freedom, and right. I said the normal people that own guns aren't the ones going out there and doing this.
Yeah.
I said, second of all. Like, England's this big.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What you should have told him is that, hey, buddy, did you know that Great Britain actually has a higher murder rate than the United States? Right? They just choose to kill you another way.
Exactly.
If you want to kill somebody, you'll figure it out.
And if these guys, as much as they hate us, and I said to him, okay, so realistically, you're going to invade everybody's home and take away anything. Yeah. So rather than putting up borders, rather than doing one great big secure thing, now what's going to happen is we're going to, at every Starbucks or at every concert hall or at every restaurant that has seating inside and outside, we're going to have to protect ourselves with all these little things inside rather than protect ourselves with the borders. Yeah. Nobody's saying they can't come in here, so don't get sensitive, okay?
Yeah. Well,
I love everybody. I really do, but this is the thing.
Yeah.
We are in it's a different time. People aren't coming in here to assimilate and live the American dream. Yeah. Those people specifically are coming here to get rid of us.
Yeah, I mean, and
they don't care if you're sticking up for them or not. The gays have been sticking up for them. Most of them are liberals, and I'm not going to say all because again, what was your comment about that? Bring that in now.
What was my comment?
Well, I'm like going about all
so
all Muslims
the Facebook little thing that's running around is
so he won't take credit for the comment.
Yeah, if this guy doesn't represent all Muslims, then why does he represent all gun owners? Right. So it was a Muslim with a gun, and so we make totally 100% negative comments on the gun aspect, but we say nothing about the Muslim aspect. So it goes both ways.
Exactly.
Right? So,
you can't have it both ways. Not all gun owners are bad. Not all Muslims are bad.
Yeah, and then the question is, if we're going to ban guns because of this kind of stuff, then are we going to ban Muslims as well? Because the reality is, he was a Muslim and he had a gun. So if we're going to ban one, should we ban the other? Right? He was male. Should we ban all males? I mean,
so this is my other question. Gun control has been the hot issue for how long now? Since how many years ago was the Connecticut shooting with the children in the school?
I would say at least 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Okay. Well, they've been talking about gun control and laws out the wazoo. Did they change any laws? Because they're in power.
Yeah.
So did you change anything? Because this guy managed to get one legally, and he was on a watch list.
Yeah.
So if it's all about the paperwork and more laws, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Did they implement more laws at that time?
Not at the national or federal level, right? I mean, a lot of states did, things like that. But, I mean, again, it didn't stop San Bernardino shooter from...
It's not going to stop the people that don't give a flying leap.
Yeah,
it's not going to stop the people
and again, it goes back to prohibition. So we actually passed a constitutional amendment. Yeah, and people need to ask themselves, why did we pass a constitutional amendment to ban alcohol? Well, the reason is because nobody at the time assumed the government had the power, the federal government, had the power to regulate anything. That's why. Right? There was no FDA. There was no,
Exactly.
any of this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so, America got together and passed a constitutional amendment. And how effective was that alcohol prohibition? Well, the reality is it was fairly effective. In other words, the amount of alcohol consumed per person across the nation drastically dropped. Why? Because law-abiding people didn't drink. Right?
Exactly.
But there's an element that made alcohol, had the speakeasies, sold liquor, and that's how the mafia got their start, was bootlegging moonshine.
Was it really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was always been a mob element, but they made one hell of a lot of money.
So that's how the mob kind of got started with the whole...
Oh, that's how they got big.
Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Huh.
Absolutely. And so, so the reality is, that banning wholesale to everybody simply doesn't work. And it's the same thing with marijuana. So long before Colorado, legalized, and some other places have legalized possession of marijuana, where marijuana can be, bought anywhere at any time, yet it was banned in 50 states and at the federal level. We had, DEA, breaking down people's homes and watching the border for, drugs, but it comes. So the bottom line, if you want to commit a criminal act, you're going to find a way.
You're going to find a way to do it.
I mean, if you really want to. I mean, trust me, I speed all the time. I make no bones about it, right? And it's a calculated risk.
You better not do it on Mountain Road.
It's a calculated risk for me because I know the punishment's minimal, kind of thing.
And you kind of know where the cop cars tend to stay, so you're like, all right, let me slow down here just in case.
Yeah, and here's the deal on guns. There's about 330 million guns in this nation, and there's 330 million people, right? And the reality is about 150 million people, have access to guns. And that's about right. In other words, the left has none, the right has all, right? And so there's no way the federal government is going to come in and confiscate 100 or 330 million firearms from 150, 160 million.
There would be a revolution.
No, absolutely. They're not taking them. I'm never giving them up. It's just pure and simple, right?
I'm telling you what, as soon as that happens, and I mean, I have to honestly say, people, I'm not really about guns. I mean, even when I see cops and people, I'm like, But that doesn't mean that, no, you can't have it. I mean, no, do I want the crazy people not to have it or get it? Yeah. But I don't want them to get near a knife either, you know?
No, absolutely.
But again, the reality of taking everyone's gun away, and okay, let's just say that they find a way to do it and it's successful, that's the beginning of the end. That will change America forever.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is, again, we look at great historical mass murders in the last century.
The Colorado one, the movie.
Well, I mean, at a national level. So we're talking about Germany, Nazi Germany. Well, the reality is, Nazi Germany, when Hitler rose to power, this is what people don't understand. He did not start the gun ban issue in Germany. So it was actually done under the Weimar Republic, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it. But before that guy, whoever that was, he actually instituted gun registration.
Okay.
And what happened was, now all of a sudden the German government, the German national government, has a registry of everybody that owns a firearm. So Hitler gets in the power. Okay. And so he just dusts off the list. He knows everybody's got a gun. Okay. And he makes everybody turn them in. See, and that's the danger of a national gun registry. And that's why actually by federal law, the federal government is prohibited from having a national gun registry, right?
Really?
Yeah, and in Virginia, we don't register firearms either. Now some states do,
So you're saying when someone comes in here, let's just say me, Joe Blow, and you do a background check, and I go off and I buy it, I get it, I go home and my new toy, that no one knows I bought it, in the state or federal system?
Well, what happens is, so as part of the background check, I mean, they know that you're buying a firearm because you're going through the background check.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Okay.
So, and they know whether or not it's...
So they know the reason for the background check.
Right,
Okay.
and they know, because I reported, whether it's a handgun, whether it's a rifle, a shotgun, or a pistol.
Okay.
But that's it. So they don't know what you bought.
Okay.
Right? They don't know... they don't know the serial number of it, and they don't know when you dispose of it.
So now that we're on the subject of guns, can you educate us on why they're always throwing out the term assault weapons? They're against the assault weapons. Why does anybody need a gun that goes?
Yeah.
So that is true. That seems like a valid question to me.
Yeah.
Versus my husband's hunting rifle.
Right. Right.
And I don't know anything about him, as you can tell. So what is allowed to be sold and what isn't, and what is considered an assault rifle, and is that legally sold to people who can pass it back?
Well, let's talk about the one thing that a lot of people get confused about, and that is, in fact, it is a machine gun. Right? Mm-hmm. So the reality is, nobody's been killed with a machine gun in the line, for the most part, last 70, 80 years, since Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, so none of these guns and any of these in the past 5-year shootings has been a machine gun.
A machine gun. And I'm going to define for you the machine gun just in the simplest of terms, right? So the bottom line is, if you pull the trigger one time, right, bullets just keep coming out.
So one time pull,
and the magazine just empties of, right, and so you can spray very quickly.
Okay.
Now, it's not against the law to actually own a machine gun in America, right? You can get it. You have to have a federal tax stamp, a bunch of other stuff. Okay. But the reality is, these mass murderers are not using automatic weapons.
Okay.
Right?
What are they using? Okay.
So they're using what's called semi-automatics.
Okay.
So a semi-automatic. Now, and again, I'm going to use these terms a little bit loosely, right?
Okay.
But the bottom line is, in a semi-automatic, you pull the trigger one time, one bullet comes out.
Okay.
So every time I pull the trigger, only one bullet comes out.
So how many is in there, though?
Well, that's the magazine issue, and some states have gone through to magazine size limitations and things like that, because they think if you got a 10-round mag, it would just take you. There would be some time there, right? And and that is a quote unquote true statement. But how effective the magazine bans are, they're probably not. Right? In reality, but a semi-automatic. But now with that said, so we always think of those AR-15 style rifles as the classic assault rifle. But the reality is, using my working definition, which is valid.
Okay.
Your husband's hunting rifle has most likely, a magazine, and it's got bullets in it, and you pull the trigger back one time, and one bullet comes out. Right? So that is a semi-automatic as well. It's the same thing with handguns, right? So a semi-automatic handgun traditionally has a slide on it, you pull it back, But the same can be said about a revolver as well. So a revolver, there is no slide, there's no action. It's what the cowboy and Indians used to use, the westerns, right? Yeah. It has a cylinder, it has bullets in it, but the bottom line is, you pull the trigger back one time, it shoots one bullet, right? So
is that what's revolving around there?
The cylinder, right?
Okay.
And so the reality is, a semi-automatic rifle isn't that much different than a semi-automatic hunting gun, or a semi-automatic handgun, or a semi-automatic, or I should say a revolver.
And so none of those are classified as an assault rifle.
No. Again, now Virginia actually has a definition for the term assault rifle.
So that's what I'm after. What is
so they say an assault rifle in Virginia is any gun that's delivered with a magazine of greater than 20. Oh. Right, and it's got to be center fired, and there's a couple other things. But folding stock, I don't know why it's folding stock. But the reality is, it's just any gun that has this, when delivered, has a magazine of 20 rounds or more. So, I sell a lot of AR-15 rifles with 20-round mags, and they're not considered assault rifles because it doesn't have more than 20, right? It's just, or I sell them with 10 or whatever the case may be, right? And so that's just a made-up definition. But the public uses assault rifle basically as anything that looks scary.
Exactly, and that's what the news media is kind of just saying. They just throw out that term because it sounds scary, and you get this vision of your head of the of Rocky in the movie, or whoever the bad guy is with this huge thing. Yeah. It's terrible. I get it. Yeah. But what is really the reality of that?
Yeah.
But
well, keep in mind they put the term assault in front of that. right, to be a negative term. Right? Because again,
make it be about the gun and not about the person with the gun.
Yeah, absolutely. I can beat you with a bat, and that would be an assault bat.
See, that's the thing. These people, if they can't get a gun, they're going to get something else.
No, absolutely.
Beat us up with.
I can beat you with a bat. It'd be an assault bat, but I can go out and play baseball with it, and it'd be a baseball bat, right?
Right.
And you can say the same thing.
An assault weapon, which is what we do.
Yeah, and again, I go back to my mouse thing. This is if I throw this at you and hit it, it's now an assault mouse. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but again, they do that to demonize the concept of our Second Amendment right.
Yeah.
Here's the deal: our Second Amendment right is clear, and it says it right there, right? The right of the people. So it doesn't say words mean things, right? So it doesn't say the right of the government. It doesn't say the right of the state. It doesn't say the right of the Army or the Navy, the Air Force, Marines. Any of this. It doesn't say any of this. It says the right of the people, and we're the people, right? Our founding documents start with "we the people," right? And so we're not talking about governmental institutions. We're talking about the citizens, right, who make up this nation. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
But this is the question of the left and of people in Europe. Why do we think we need them or want them? Why can't we go play with a frisbee? I mean, literally, that's what this guy's asking.
No, absolutely.
So what is our response to that besides it's our right?
Yeah. Well, our nation was founded in revolution, right? And what were we revolting against, right? It wasn't the lack of rice, or the lack of food stamps.
We wanted our choices.
Yeah, we wanted our freedoms.
Yeah.
Right? And our founding fathers, and I'm convinced, and I'm sure some historian probably knows better than me, that the genesis of the Second Amendment started when the British came to Concord and Lexington to seize the firearms.
Yeah.
And the citizenry, the colonialists of the time, realized at that point that we're just not playing games anymore.
Right.
We have our masters who are over across the ocean who dictate stuff to us in an unrepresentative form.
Right.
That they'll do anything to keep their power. And by doing that they would seize our firearms, which means we can no longer be defensive, that we would have to be submissive. So I don't care what anybody says. I don't know if that's 10% or 90%, but I'm thoroughly convinced that those types of actions, and I'm sure there were plenty more, but we always think about Lexington and Concord, right? But that's ultimately why. And so the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. I couldn't care less. I've never hunted before in my life.
No. At that point, when they weren't worried about hunting, they were worried about their freedom and their life.
And so so firearms are for two purposes. And Thomas Jefferson makes this clear. I don't have the quote in front of me, but it's both for personal defense, obviously, right? But it's to defend the people, we the people, against a tyrannical government.
Right.
I mean, it really is that simple. Right. And so, our POTUS, here a few months ago.
So if we give it up today, there's the answer.
There'll be bloodshed. There'll be massive bloodshed. Right? Because, I'm just telling you, I'm not giving up on it. It's just never going to happen. And, it just isn't going to happen. Right? And trust me, there are a million more, like me. Now, some people will, right? Some people, they're not going to, they'll give up. And I don't blame them, right?
Yeah.
But me and millions of others, simply won't relinquish the only thing that stands between us and true tyranny.
Yeah.
Right? Which is my ability to have a firearm. Because I want my government to fear me. I do not want to fear my government.
When did they become the boss?
No, absolutely. Right.
We're supposed to be hiring them. They're supposed to be working for us, not telling us how to obey them.
Yeah.
No, and along the way, in the last 8 years, it's us saying to them, okay, well, whatever you say, tell me what to think, tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, we have the government that our founding fathers warned us about.
Against,
right?
Exactly.
And, the reality is, and while it's not, it's not as bad as, kind of thing, it's clearly, they've exercised more power and authority than our founding fathers. Okay, but see, that's
how things happen.
No,
and they do it to you insidiously.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, a little bit by a little bit, we'll take away a little bit of this, we'll take a little bit of that. And so, you don't notice it because you're so busy in your everyday life, going to work, going to another job, taking care of the kids, doing homework, going to dance class. You don't have time to think about what's happening to you in your life and what you're giving up. Yeah. And they don't want you to have time to think about that, because if you actually thought about it, then you might actually change your mind. But
Yeah, and I think most people on the right, and I think most people in the center, I mean, I think 75% of the people just want to be left the hell alone.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, there's just a small fringe, I think, on the left
Well,
that drives the agenda for most of the left. Right?
For the people that are, for the law-abiding, let's use gays and Muslims right now because that's what's in the news. Don't we all want to be left? They want to be left alone for how they want to practice their life. I go for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, be a Muslim. Go be a Buddhist. I have no problem with that. But the people that you are sticking up for are the people that want to kill you. So when are you going to stop blaming the gun and go after the individual that doesn't like you for no good, well, whatever they think is a good reason, which is very scary.
Yeah.
But when are you going to take the responsibility and put it where it belongs?
No, absolutely, right? Again, I've sold tons of guns, and I have tons of guns, right? And, my guns have never killed anybody, right? And because, again, they're not inherently dangerous, right? But as with anything in the hands of somebody bent on committing evil, right?
Hey, look, I'll take a herd of horses, open up a barn door, and have everybody standing there. I'll scare the crap out of them from behind them, and right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's if they can't get a hold of a gun, they'll get a hold of something else.
Yeah.
Or they'll behead us one at a time.
Yeah. And the big difference in what's going on now when we talk about Islamic extremism, so I never reference these people generally as Muslims. I call them what they are, which is Islamic extremists,
exactly.
right? And so
you can't blame it on that community.
No, absolutely, right? Yeah. Just like the gun issue, right? But Islamic extremists, they have an agenda.
Exactly.
Right? And their agenda is Sharia law.
Yes.
And Sharia law includes the elimination of people who don't bow down to Allah and defectives, as they define them, which include homosexuality. And a bunch of other women, the integration of women, all this other stuff, right? And so if you're an Islamic extremist hell-bent on spreading Sharia law, to your community, that's an issue. If you're a practicing Muslim, I couldn't give a rat's ass. Now, listen, if you're beating your wife, in fact,
I'm really curious about their religion. I mean, I took a religion class. I can't remember anything from it. I mean, I have no problem with any law-abiding citizen. I don't give a flying leap where you're from.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Yeah, but the disappointment is really the political spin.
Absolutely, right? It shouldn't even be about that. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how many times does this has to happen until we're talking about banning a gun.
The POTUS apparently has yet to use the term Islamic extremist.
Oh no, he won't.
In this, right?
He's such an ideologue, and you know what? If I hear that word one more time,
I know.
I hate that word. I mean, I know Levin is so freaking smart, but I'm like, can you just make up another word? Because
no, I know. It's just it's the insanity. So you got all these people, all on the left that they want to take the focus off the fact that it was an Islamic extremist.
Yeah.
That he wasn't a lone wolf. So they talk about this lone wolf, right? If you connect enough dots,
how many lone wolves do we need?
No, I know. Yeah, these lone wolves. Listen, even lone wolves mate and produce offspring, and so that's what.
Do you think they're not out planting their nests?
No, absolutely. So while these people maybe don't meet together and do planning together, right? They share the same values, and they do communicate, even in the open, as far as potential targets. I mean, ISIS or Al Qaeda anyway actually has a magazine on how to be a good terrorist, and they show you how to make pressure cooker bombs and things like this. Yeah, I think you can pick it up at 7-Eleven. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe when you worked at.
But yeah, I mean, so we got our politicians.
It's a different world, people.
So,
it's a different world.
Yeah, so the number one purpose of government, any government, I don't care if it's national, federal, state, local, right, is the protection of the citizen. That's the number one, right? And we have an administration who refuses to
acknowledge.
Right, yeah, refuses to acknowledge that there's even a problem, right? And two, refuses to defend our nation. The problem is us.
He's blaming the problem on us, you and me.
Yeah.
We're the problem.
Yeah, the problem in Orlando was not that the Islamic extremists had a gun, was that there was a whole hell of a lot of people around him that didn't. You know, because the reality is, if he didn't start shooting,
didn't I think of
nobody
that?
else would be shooting,
No.
right? You know, but if you had some
nobody
other
else wants to
people,
wreak that kind of havoc.
yeah, no, absolutely, because you know we just live in a civil society,
Right. I
except
mean, we want to get along. I mean,
Yeah.
I've traveled like to 3 different cities, and I'm telling you, it's everywhere is diverse anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be in
Oh, yeah,
Ohio.
yeah.
I mean, I wasn't around anything other than a Caucasian, wasn't within 50 miles
Oh,
of
I
me
know.
until I moved to
Yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it was still that way, I wouldn't even want to live there.
Yeah.
I love the diversity. I love
Yeah.
speaking to people about where they're from and how they lived and what they do. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
We should be sharing that.
Yeah.
And we could be if we weren't being divided. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. In the last 8 years, but
He
prior
must
to
like
that,
you.
the freaking fly.
The fly is attracted to
It's the hair
sugar,
product.
and he's not bugging me. So,
I know, he's just like right here on my nose. Get out of here.
I think they hate bitter vinegar.
He senses my, I don't even know what I was saying now. I'm so,
Yeah, it's just the diversity of our nation, right? And I agree. You know, if you would have come here and assimilated, who cares, right? I mean, everybody else
It's
has.
what we want you to do.
Right? Everybody else has.
We want you to
know?
come in, assimilate, help make your dreams come true, you know, contribute both, you know, with the passion, with the job, to the taxes. But no, we don't want you coming in and totally mooching
Yeah.
and will we help you get a start? Yeah. But then it's just like a child. Eventually you got to get off on your own.
No, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's the difference that we're not doing today. We don't even care whether they're assimilating, whether they're here to drain us or whether they're here
Yeah.
to kill us. We're like, it doesn't matter. Bring it on. I mean, would you
Well, let me
let
ask
your
you-
child go play with a bunch of people that you didn't think he would be safe playing with in a
Yeah.
playground?
Or shared your same, you know, similar values, right?
Yes.
Well, now I don't know the answer to this question. So this is again, it's Monday. It's 6:40 now. Whatever. Was the Islamic extremist? Was he an immigrant? I don't know.
He was. Oh man, I heard this. What was it? He was born in New York.
Okay, but was his
So,
parents
from, I think-
immigrants? Legal or
Was it Pakistan or Afghanistan?
Yeah, I think he was. I do think I remember hearing something about Pakistan. You know.
I think they were from there, but I'm pretty sure I heard he was born in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is the thing, okay? I keep going to our opinions. So, those of us here that I'm going to say, those few people on the left, why is it that you enjoy living here and like you're going to celebrate the 4th of July and you enjoy your freedoms, you know, you go to work, you come home, you take a walk, you play with the dog. We have great lives here. Why is it you want to let that go?
Yeah.
Why do you want to let that go? Why do you think that having some control over the people that are coming in here, why is that so wrong? We have to do that to preserve us, just like you would preserve your own family.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. So, you know, people come here, and I think, you know, most of them, I think, actually want to become Americans.
I
right?
think so,
You
too.
know? But, you know, those that don't, it's like, you know, you're leaving your country for a reason, right? And listen,
Exactly.
I've been in 100
And they're coming
countries.
here for a reason.
I've been in over 100 countries, right? And to be honest with you, I could find positive things to say about every nation that I've
you've ever been in,
right?
yeah.
And mainly,
And you've probably met somebody really wonderful from every place you've ever been.
no, I actually had lunch with a Nobel Peace Prize winner in Burma.
You know,
one time.
quit like one of them, okay?
Yeah, but
anyway.
but here's the deal. So, but you know that greatness of those I'm going to call nations, and you know my thing was it was really more about the natural features of God's creation, right, in those countries, right, and you know, and some of the countries had great works of art, great literature, great architecture, and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, and I'm going to offend a whole lot of people here, the rest of the planet sucks. Right, when compared to the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, I've been everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know exactly how all these other governments work and what people can and cannot do and things like that. And the bottom line is there's just no place like home. So,
No.
if you want to come here and...
I would love to have wouldn't you love to have a survey of everybody who's so way over here on the left?
Yeah.
How many places have you traveled overseas?
Yeah, no.
Because if you had, because let me tell you something, I was I was a bleeding heart liberal up until 2009.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, people that don't know me think that I am.
Yeah.
Because I am all about helping people.
No, absolutely.
I'd do anything to help anybody.
Yeah.
As long as you're not trying to shoot me.
And that's just part of the moral framework of our society.
Of America.
So it's a cultural thing.
But see, that's what the news media is doing. Is they're just because we're right of center, we're a bunch of bigots. It's like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
I don't hate gay people. Our two best friends are gay.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. I would take a bullet for them.
Oh.
But anyway, I was going to make that a point.
Sorry. I thought your best friends were your horses.
Well, they are. They might be. Carby might be for sure. I don't really know what to think of him.
Yeah.
You know what his problem is?
Yeah.
He's still stuck on his mommy.
Really?
Which is almost,
Well, have I said this joke before? About why horses can't talk?
No, but go ahead.
Because they're a little horse.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, that's a great school.
Oh, we needed it. We needed a little joke. But anyway,
no, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we've been doing this for 40 minutes. So
40 minutes.
we should
It's really
probably
time
start
to call
wiping off.
it. Yeah.
So let's circle back around, to the incident at hand. So we have, bottom line is we have nut job, Islamic extremist, kills a whole bunch of people.
Did he have the job with him? Did he get fired from the job that he had, the security job that he had, or what?
Oh, I don't know.
Do we know? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But and the reality is, both from the news reporting and political spin, at least on the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're blaming everybody but.
But because the news media is left, we may not really. We're going to hear out of context.
Yeah.
What the truth is. I believe that.
Yeah, and they're never going to attribute to exactly what it is, which is an Islamic extremist.
How many times do we have to have it, San Bernardino?
Yeah, who follows and supports, ISIS, whether materially or
they want to get rid of
intellectually.
gays, they want to get rid of Christianity, they want to get rid of Americans.
Yeah.
And we're not talking Muslims, we're talking Islamic extremists.
Yeah.
So get that clear before you start blasting us.
And so, everybody wants to, they put the focus on guns instead of, the true issue.
The true issue,
which
exactly.
is an ideology that is more than religious, right? So it's a political and legal framework as well.
Right.
And they come here for the sole purpose, to install Sharia law. And again, Islamic extremists, right?
Yeah.
And so my 2 cents worth is, let's talk real quick. Let's talk about my little sign outside. So I had a leftist nut job come up here. She was taking pictures of my store, and I have a little sign that I can say stuff on it.
Does she know about your show?
I don't know. I hope so. But anyway, on my sign, I changed it yesterday, because I, for one, am fed up. And I say terrorized enough yet, and I advertise AR-15s for $550, right? So I actually got a couple right now. The second in case that one's wrong. But anyway,
is that on sale?
Well, that's my regular price.
Oh.
Yeah. But they're just a dang good weapon, right? But anyway, apparently, she was offended, right, by the fact that I said, terrorized enough yet. And the other funny thing, I didn't say anything else. That's all that's on there. I don't have a lot of room, right? And so I guarantee you, somehow she's
you're
painted
the bad
me.
Guy.
I guarantee you, she has painted me 2 things: a homophobe.
Yeah.
And is having Islamic phobia,
right?
And I don't say anything on there. I just said terrorize enough.
But see, because you're in her head, because you're selling the gun, you're the problem.
I'm part of the problem.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
But see, that's the response. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
So, because that's, like I said, that's the way I used to think until I saw the light.
No,
and it took a lot of. I mean, for those of you who are, like, what the heck happened to her? What's wrong with her now?
Yeah.
Well, it took reading and listening to a lot of other resources than NBC and CNN.
No, absolutely.
And admitting that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally okay with, because you know what? I spent half my day.
No,
I spent half my life being wrong. No.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Pride's, is man's greatest.
Yeah, let go of it, because right now it's killing us.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, pride was the cause of the fall in the Garden of Eden. Right? I mean, ultimately, right? Because,
pride
you say,
everything in balance.
You can have everything, but you can't eat from this one tree, right?
And that just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
And now here
it's like, I got the whole world, but I got to eat something off this one tree.
You know,
Right.
we just can't help ourselves.
No, absolutely. And the bottom line is, and women who are very persuasive, right? Talk Dad them into, hey, take a bite too.
It always comes back to us.
Hey, you guys are just easily manipulated by women. It's just the truth. It's just reality.
Well,
it is.
You know why that is, though.
Oh, I know
it
why.
has
But
to
this
be
is
mental with us because you guys have the.
This is G-rated.
Because you guys have
the brawn, right?
Right.
No, it's
so we
just
have to manipulate you, if I can talk, this because we don't have the.
I go back to my wife who is extremely tolerant, of me, right? All she's got to say is, "Are you wearing that?" It's a question, right? So, if I ask that question, I would literally want to know, "Oh, are you wearing that?" But like when she says
her, it's a suggestion of.
It's like what she's really saying is, "There's no way in hell you're wearing that and being seen with me. It is not happening, bud. Go up there and change."
In my house, it's exactly the opposite.
Oh, really?
And anybody who knows me knows.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be like, "You're really going to wear that to work today?"
Yeah.
I'm like, he goes, "Oh yeah, you're Miss Fashionista."
Yeah. Yeah.
I like simple.
So anyway, with that said,
we gotta cut it off.
We gotta cut it off. Yeah, but
so thanks for listening. And you know what? Someday when we've made it and my dream has come true, and we actually have a radio show, and it's about not being controversial. It's about conversation. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. I'm actually reading a book. It's an audiobook about Tocqueville. I'm just listening.
Tocqueville, yeah, you said that.
Tocqueville, but he in the section we're in right now is where he talks about one of the great strengths of America, and he basically specifically says America will stop being great when we stop conversing. Right, and then that's the shout, the shout down from the left, Black Lives Matter, all these other people,
and that is happening because we're having the riots where Trump can't talk because you're going to have a riot.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can't express a concept or an idea, right?
He has right, whether you like him or not. Believe me, he's never been my favorite person, but he's allowed to speak.
Yeah, but we're getting to the point in our nation.
Because where's our safe place? If you get a safe place, where's my safe place?
Yeah, absolutely.
I get a safe place too.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, it's where my handgun is.
Something popped up.
Something did pop up. But anyway, our clock's still running, so we're still good.
Okay, so we're good.
Okay, so let's do the sign off. I'm going to close out. I don't even know what that is. Let's do the sign off. I'm going to let you do the sign off.
Oh, I'm always doing the sign on and the sign off.
Well, my wife thinks I dominate the conversation, but I think you dominated this time.
I think I did.
Because I think you're actually more passionate about this.
Well, this is... And a guy that I took a cutting class yesterday said, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So wherever you're at, this is all I can say. If you're way over here, and this is my left, then I guess make sure that what you think is really true and it's the best thing for you and your family.
Yeah.
If you're all the way over here, I guess do your homework and really find out, because it is no joke anymore. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I mean... It's almost like when I was a nurse in the ICU, we had to make jokes because the reality of the situation is so intense that unless you do that, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
We need to stick together.
Yeah.
It's the United States of America.
Yeah. Well, in a similar vein, I mean, all the travels I did, trust me, I was in some hairy situations, right? And that's when, you cut the best jokes. Right, because I'll be honest with you, even as a man on this other stuff, you're petrified.
You're petrified, exactly.
And so you have to release that emotion somehow, right? How you got to cut the tension, and a good joke goes a long way.
Because that allows you to actually take a breath in the situation.
No, absolutely right, and get your mind off it.
Anyway, this was episode number 5, folks, and we hope that we didn't offend anyone because we didn't mean to. We just want to be thought provoking.
Yeah.
So call in next time. Someday we're going to be able to say that.
I forgot my fake coffee.
Good.
Yeah. But anyway,
we'll have to get cups that say Liberty Radio Hour.
No, absolutely. So anyway, let's sign off.
Oh,
yeah, let me see one thing.
So what are we talking about next week?
Again, my big issue is that every by natural law rights, every person, every individual has a right to defend and protect themselves, and we can extrapolate that out to defend and protect our families, our communities, our cities, our states. states and our nations, and,
Yes.
and we functionally now have a non-functioning federal government who fails to protect the very citizens. And so that's why the Second Amendment is there. That's why I always encourage everybody and anybody, if you can and you can do it responsibly,
Right.
own a firearm, right?
And why don't we let's protect our border
Yeah.
in general in all the right ways, so that we don't have to lock up everything inside of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, with that said, this is Warner Workman, Minuteman Arms, signing off.
Darcy Shaka signing off till next week. Number 6.
Number 6. We're going to talk about small
What are we
business.
talking about? Are we doing that again?
I think we're going to do that.
We'll
yeah.
go back on track from that. Yeah, I might have
Yeah.
to watch our show because I'm so distracted now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Anyway,
so,
till next
hey, so God bless. Have a good week, and
Enjoy the weather.
Enjoy the weather. Defend yourself, your family, and your nation. God bless.
Do your homework.
And we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. That was good.
It was good.